Hey guys, my name is Itimi and you're welcome to another episode of Founders Connect. Here, I have conversations with amazing African entrepreneurs and senior talent. On today's episode, I'm having a conversation with Ibrahim, founder and CEO of Leatherback. Leatherback is a platform that simplifies global trade for individuals and businesses, and it allows you to send money across continents with ease and very fast. On today's episode, Ibrahim's going to tell us all about himself, growing up in Lagos Island, being a farmer, building a global business, and even the latest stunt he had with EFCC in Nigeria. This is going to be a very exciting and enlightening episode, so make sure you stay and you watch. Make sure you listen to the end. P.S. This episode is going to be different from any Founders Connect episode that you've ever seen. The format is going to be different. However, the story, the content is going to be as good, maybe even better than any previous episode. Yes, I said that. So it's going to be Ibrahim telling you his story by himself, uncut, just him and you. Peace.
So I grew up in Lagos Island, proper Lagos Island. I'm from a very heavy trade family. So Dumota, Balogun, all those areas, Tinubu, Axis, CMS, just basically trade, Marina, Axis and all. That's really where I grew up and that's where I was born. So, I attended St. Mary's private school, also Lagos Island, and I'm a Gregorian. It's in St. Gregory's College, Koi. Growing up, I grew up in a large family. I'm from a larger extended family. My dad is one out of I think 5 or 6, 7 or so. Basically, my mom is one out of 11.
Oh, that's a lot of cousins.
So that's exactly that kind of thing.
How did that influence you?
Lagos Island is not the kind of place that you want to. It's survival of the fittest, basically. You want to get out. It's like the way it's in the movies, you just have to try to get out, right? We attended good schools and all, but I think it was also due to the help of my parents. We grew up in a situation where you stay in this 4-corner room and you must not leave the 4 corner of the room. Anything you want to do it in that room. Don't go out, don't do anything. If you want any toys, we'll buy it for you. Just stay in that room too. You're not going anywhere because once you go out, it's like a whole different world entirely, So that sort of just growing up just made me continue seeing that, I just want to I don't want distractions. Let me just keep going.
You want to get out.
Let me just get out. And well, alhamdulillah, so far so good.
At the time, right, help me contextualize it. What did getting out mean for you? Was that leaving Lagos Island? Was that leaving the country? Was that getting a different kind of lifestyle? What was it? I'll
say it was more of getting a different kind of lifestyle, right? First of all, I am very proud of Lagos Island. I wear that badge on my chest 100%, you get. But it was more of getting out and getting a different lifestyle from that because, I always wanted to make much more significant impact than what the immediate realistic goals. It's like when you keep looking at the people in front of you and you see that, is this where I can really get to? Is this my bar? Nah, man, I want to try to do a little bit more, get more and all. And so for me, it was more of a different lifestyle entirely from what was existing. If it was my primary lifestyle, then I should be a trader right now. Because trade was also what exposed me to, we grew up in a family where my dad has been traveling to China from as much as I think when I was maybe 6 years old. I can remember my dad going on his trips to China and he would put us in a store because he has quite a number of stores in Lagos Island and he said, okay, stay there, whatever you guys sell today, take the money, go and pay it into the bank and go and call, there's this guy we used to call him Alaji Idi or something, tell him how much is $1. So send the dollar down to China. Exactly. Send the dollar down to China and all. There was this incident where I think connecting where I ever got the thought of ever even trying to solve payments problems. It sounds funny, but so when we're very young, as small as we were then, my dad will make us count money, count cash and pack it, stack it, take it to the bank as small as we were 9, 10 years old, 11. We used to do all that then. So, and we would report to him, go to the cyber cafe, send emails to him saying, this is all we sold today. This is how it is. And the response was, that's really how our childhood was. That's what my dad used to expose us to growing up. So there was this cyber cafe I used to go to then. And we had there was this situation where there's this, these Yahoo boys then. One of them was peeping over the email and I was going to send, I think, $20-something thousand to China then. You can imagine how much that was.
Yeah.
And I did not know that one of them had seen the email address and had been able to find a way to bypass and change the account number or something. I was supposed to make the payment.
I need to see that story coming.
I'm telling you, it was, and funny thing is, it was my dad that caught it. It was like, No, when I sent I sent him an email. I think he sent it back, and I was going to make the payment the way normal instructions. Okay, send the money back to me, so that because when he goes there, he takes everything and he sends his containers down, and it comes with it too. They're like, no, this is not right at all. So then, also phone call was a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So I had to wait. You had to find a way to tell someone to come and call me to hold on and not do it and that and all. So that all those kind of experiences. There's lots of stories like that and all, and I think so. It's exposed me to what I think has always been the difficulty of just basic sending money from one country to another and all. Not because auntie wants to send money back to me from London. We didn't grow up in that kind of household. But it was more of,
I want to trade.
exactly.
How do I get my
I want
data?
to buy this container. I want to send this. I want to buy this. I mean, you see people bringing tens of containers a day to Mandela's markets. And these are just regular traders that are buying and selling. So like that sort of exposed me to that whole payment structure. And I think when I was supposed to decide on whether I should practice law or not, I just had to make that decision. And you know what? So when I finished my law degree, I had the decision of going to law school or making any other decision. I sort of had to sit down with myself and decide on what do I really want to do. And honestly, to be sincere with you, at that point, I knew I wanted to make money. Like I knew I wanted to make money. So there's something our professors in school used to tell us, that the road to success in law is long but sure. But I wasn't ready to take that long road.
And there's something that was faster.
And long in law is, back then, now it's better, right? Back then it was 10, 15 years long.
That's long.
You need to, because the way the law works is, after everything you learn in school and law school and all, you still need to go and do what many lawyers don't like admitting, but it's apprenticeship basically in a law firm. Learn for another 5 years again. And now grow. Exactly, and all those things. And even when you get to
suits.
Exactly. And then when you get to that point itself and all, we know one open secret in Nigeria is lawyers are not well paid, at least.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't want to go down that route. You know what? I want to make money. The first job I ever had, I approached the guys at, I think it was Concept Group here. I went there and I told them, don't pay me, I beg. I want to know.
You wanted to make money, but you didn't mind not getting paid for your first job.
Yeah, because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Interesting.
I knew I want to make money. How to make money, I don't know.
Just like it was in law.
Yeah. So I just went in there, you know what? I went in there and I spoke to them and I'm like, you know what? I have a law degree. You have a legal department, but you also have marketing, strategy, sales, this, that, and all. And I was a finance firm. I'm like, you know what? Okay. They actually pioneered personal loans in Nigeria. And they also had a treasury unit and other things. So they had a BDC in there. So I'm like, you know what? I would like the opportunity to actually learn across the various departments. Don't pay me anything. And the lady, very fantastic lady, was like, oh, you know what? Nah, we have to pay you and all. After, of course, the interview process and everything, like, no, we have to pay you. So, they paid me a token then, and it was really nice. So,
how much was that?
I think it was 48K or so.
That was your first salary?
Yeah.
Mine was like 25K. You're doing well.
I think it was 48K. So it was really nice. And also, I went ahead and was in various departments. So now being there, I got interested in marketing and sales. And it was really nice. There was this thing that Google was doing way back. I think it was training 10,000
digital skills.
Yeah, something, Google Digi something and all. Yeah, I was one of those that was able to. So I was a trainer in there, and at the same time, I also moved from there. So when I got interested in marketing, I moved to Dragnet. Dragnet, everybody knows Dragnet.
Yeah.
So I was head of marketing at Dragnet then. Then I also did a program that I also partnered with Google to be able to train people, blah, blah. So it was nice. It was sales, marketing, and all then. And I think along the line, I knew that, okay, I had gotten all the kind of experience I needed in sales and marketing. So I needed to decide, where do I want to really apply this? And it was a no-brainer. It was finance. So
why was that a no-brainer? Was that because of your experience trading, or because of like the company that you started from and they had like different finance departments?
So I will say it was also influenced by the company I started from and seeing what they were doing then. They had a treasury team that was dealing with bonds and bills and all. They had a BDC that was dealing in FX, and I saw that they were also making international payments then. And so I knew it was finance. At that time, I also did not know where it was in finance. I was even applying to some banks and also at that point in time. I knew, you know what, finance seems like
place to be.
The place to be. So, and also there was money to be made there. I was there in finance, and along the line, one of the companies I worked in as a finance, it was clear. Trade was a major thing that was that was a message back then. And for me, I saw it as, something that the role I initially occupied enabled me go back to actually apply whatever, global trade, international trade. There's problems with payments in Africa and all other things to it. It exposed me to quite a lot. So I took that role and I was able to go back to Lagos Island into that same trade market, try to get people in that market to use that same company to send money to China and send money back and all. I was able to go across Africa, and it was surprising to even till now. Many African countries, mobile money is great.
Yeah.
But moving money from one bank to another can still take as much as 3 days. It's a thing. So it exposed me to a lot of that, and being part of seeing all that just made it clear for me that.
How long did you spend there?
3 years. 3 years. So seeing
and
all
your role
that,
was mostly marketing and
sales.
Right. So was it like,
sales.
so you're going into the market and actually speaking to people, and
exactly,
kind of like a user testing and user research.
Correct. So it was got feedback, decided on which markets to go into. So that was it then, and that was how I really got into remittance primarily, yeah. But what really also made me decide to stay there was, it was very clear that there's a major problem with infrastructure with payments. It's something happened recently in Nigeria. The former central bank governor brought this cash policy and all. I'm sure you know how terrible, the kind of traffic on NIBS's system then, that people were not getting their transfers. It was an eye-opener, because at that point it's like you have so many fintechs in Nigeria, and one pronouncement, one issue, and everything just almost comes crumbling down. That sort of lets you know how we're still just scratching the surface and we have a long way to go. So that was already clear to me from way back.
Right.
And I saw that, at this point, after doing sales is not going to really solve the problem. It's building infrastructure that will solve the problem. Hence, Leatherback.
Okay, so let's talk about Leatherback.
Yeah.
A couple of things I'm curious. So I'll ask you all the questions and you can decide.
Sure.
The first one is, what was the specific route that you took from, I have this job, I'm already in that space, but I see that there's an infrastructure problem, I want to solve it. Did you have to go raise money? Did you say, let me start building? What was that specific thing? And then how is Leatherback solving? Because I know that you're solving remittance, but you started from talking about infrastructure. Yeah. So how are you guys actually solving the infrastructure problem?
Okay, so, it was when I left my previous company, when I left Azara, and I think that was when I started farming. And
I'll come in there.
I'll come in there. Yeah, I think that was when I started farming just a little bit, and it was just I was there, and at that point I was still thinking, what's the way to go? What's the route to go? So I knew what I wanted to do, and I started figuring out, just scoping it out a little bit. And around that same time, I got close to the CEO of Zcrest. That's Diamzat, and he also had the same dream and vision. So it was like having someone to just say, you know what, you want to do this? No problem. So they had lots of resources, understanding and all. So we didn't have to go first to raise money. I knew what I wanted to do, but that journey was not going to be, it's not a path I would want to take alone. Right. And the CEO of Zcrest still had the same alignment and thought process in there. And then we decided, with the kind of support they had a large team. They've been in finance for a very long time, so they were more of strategic advisors. And with that in mind, I started with the application process, going license first, putting everything in place, just going one step at a time. Before we raised funds, we had actually procured 2 licenses.
Interesting.
But
you need money to procure license.
Nah, that's what many people think. That's what many people really think. But at the end of the day, how much do you really need to procure these licenses? You have different routes to procure licenses. You can pay a consultant to help you do it, right? And the UK has a fantastic process where there's a rule that your license must be reviewed within 1 year. If it's not reviewed within 1 year, you will need to come and withdraw the application, or they will need to reject you and all, which was very helpful. So it was it was a very open direct. You can go on the FCA website today and apply.
Yeah.
The only thing that you need is at that point is to be able to show that you have capital requirement. And I mean, I've done a couple of work, put together some money previously, and also it was sort of, you know what, let's apply for this license first.
Got it.
It's not.
So you didn't go the route of let's build the product. You went let's
license first.
Okay.
It was license first, and we didn't build until after we had gotten approval. You get for the license itself. That's for the PSP. Even the PSP license in Nigeria. If you actually find out well about the PSP in Nigeria, it's not actually an expensive license to apply for. It's just because of the method with which we apply for things in Nigeria. That's why it might look like, oh, it's a lot of money, but it really isn't. So, I mean, the application fee itself is probably 2 million naira or so, right? So, but I mean, so license first came down, I mean, was in the UK.
So you got UK and Nigeria license first?
No, actually, UK, Canada first.
UK, Canada.
Yeah, so we got UK, we got an EMI in the UK at the right time. Yeah. Well, at the right time because it was also, I mean, I know post that period, the FCA went on a rampage and it was there. But suppose it was the right time, then we also got Canada. And after Canada, at that point in time, we started building. So it was, I mean, that was the journey to, you know what, transitioning from what's the first thing that I need to do. And what also something that sort of made me go license first is because until recently, the concept of fintech has always been disruption and not following.
Not compliant.
Exactly. So until recently, I mean, we have lots of fintech that are doing things the right way now.
Yeah.
So I never agreed with that whole fintech, let's disrupt against the norm. Nah, it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to last. You guys will still come within the confines of what compliance.
So when you did all of this compliance bit, were you building by yourself? Was it just you and then with the backing of the press, or did you get an
there was a team. There was a team, a fantastic team. We had these small people that were really that focused on building, and now building was also at that point we had decisions to make. Do you want to go with off-the-shelf solutions, or do you want to build? Now, our DNA at Leatherback today is we build. We're builders, all right? I mean, we have an engineering team of probably more than 60% of our team is made up of engineers, right? And for everything we needed to do from the beginning, our core banking, every aspect of our solution, we built ourselves.
Why? Because that feels like the expensive way to go.
Yes, and it's okay.
I mean, short-term expensive, maybe
yes,
long-term,
exactly,
but short-term, like, we're going to spend time to build versus just like white label.
So look at it this way. One of the people we partnered with when we started out at Leatherback was a company called Currency Cloud. At peak, we were paying Currency Cloud about more than 60,000 a month in pounds, right? At peak before, but if not for the work we had done, which is, you know what solution is Currency Cloud giving us? USD. We had gone to partner with a US company, right, to be able to build local infrastructure, tap into the ACH rails, FedWire rails, and SWIFT rails to be able to terminate payments into the US. So at that point, it was just a question of, it would take 2 years to build, but at that point in time,
it'll be the right call.
Exactly, it'll be the right call. So we knew long term it will be very expensive. It's not sustainable, right? But in the immediate, it was going to be tough. So we decided to go that route. And also the major reason beyond even the cost or whatever is more, the decision was driven more from the angle of, we knew how complex our systems were. I was talking to my CTO this morning and we're like, see guy, this particular feature was when he said, the problem is, because as you're calling this, you're calling that, you have so many providers that are providing at that point in time. So we need to really just find a way to look at it again and simplify it. And also we knew the journey was going to be one where we're going to be building something quite complex. I mean, we have XOF wallets in Senegal, XOF wallets in Cote d'Ivoire. We have GBP accounts in the UK. We have Euro accounts. We have USD accounts. We have Canadian dollars accounts. We have Indian rupees accounts. And just Ethiopian birr accounts, and these are different providers, different solutions. In one country they're telling you use VPN, in another country they're telling you connect directly. In one country they're telling you have to store the data locally in that country server. And also it was very, very clear that it was if we had bought an off-the-shelf solution, the time we'll spend to tweak and amend will be as much as
right.
what we need to
And that goes back to you saying that you wanted to solve the infrastructure problem.
Correct.
With the rails versus
Correct.
just like help people.
Help people, exactly. So,
Right.
which was why we decided, you know what, let's just focus on build, right? When we build, it's more beneficial long term.
So what does that look like today?
It's exciting, actually. Because, you know, Leatherback is probably one of those, I think there's probably only one other person in the market that can say that. I will say that we're not going through any third party. Like, we're audacious enough to...
So everything is...
Everything. Yeah. We are...
All of the different corridors.
Everything.
India, like all of it.
Everything. We're now even... We're so audacious that we're going a step further into... like in places like the UK, we're starting the Bank of England project where we're tapping directly into the source itself. Not even now saying we're on FastApp. You know, we have our own unique sort code in the UK. We have our own unique SWIFT. In Canada, we are able to, which is one of the most exciting things that we did recently, we're able to issue, because there's the email transfer process system in Canada where you're able to transfer money from one email to another. So now what we've done is, even if you're in Nigeria, we can give you your own email to also be able to receive transfers via email in Canada too. Help
me break it down, right? Technically, I get it.
Yeah.
For a lot of people who are watching, they won't, because I work in fintech, I get the idea.
Yeah.
What is so you've talked about cost, right? So like, having to pay like third-party partners a lot of money as you scale, it just becomes ridiculous.
Yep.
But that's for you as the business. Does it have any benefit for the consumers? Like, for instance, the fact that you can tap into these things, does it mean that faster payments doesn't feel like, what does it actually mean for people like me who want to use it?
So a series of things. One, compliance.
Okay.
Africa is generally seen as high risk, with the exception of one or two. South Africa, and maybe, I think, Tanzania, again, are one of those two countries. Africa is generally seen as high risk. And you and I, coming from Nigeria or Ghana or Ethiopia, will not be able to access services from Barclays or JP Morgan easily, except we're resident in those countries, right? Even if we have trade needs, even if we're selling 10 million naira worth of goods every day and all, it doesn't matter. Point is, the country you're coming from is one where it's risky and it's on a corridor and all. And you won't blame those guys.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, they do not have the time, or there's no commercial viability for them to commit resources to come and understand that, oh, in Nigeria, proof of address is different. In the UK, you know that Ibrahim stays in apartments so and so, and in buildings so and so, and flats so and so, and you can verify it.
Yeah.
But in Nigeria, it's my landlord's name that is on my...
probably like 15 in
exactly. So the guy on London Bridge, or the guy in JP Morgan, does not have time to understand that, oh, in Nigeria, this is how they do it. So that's how it works. So that's the first problem we're trying to solve. Most of the partners we started with a Leatherback, from the currency clouds to every other person that we worked with. The major problem we had is, because they also were not the banks direct, they were middle parties, right, that we had to pay to access these services. They had compliance restrictions that will not allow us offer their services to people from some of the countries that we had interest in. So for example, we could not offer currency cloud accounts to Nigerians. We had to now segment our system, which was also one of the reasons why we decided we were going to build from the beginning, because we had to prove to those partners that we are able to separate services, that we will offer this service to these people, but we will not offer this to these people. So at that point, we're paying so much, and we were not able to offer the service to the corridor that we really know needs it and we are really able to serve. So being able to own our own infrastructure lets us make that decision on our own. We're carrying the compliance risk ourselves.
Right.
We know what comes with the Nigerian market, with the Ghanaian market, with the Ethiopian market. We know what comes with the African market. We understand what the guy in JP Morgan or Barclays is seeing as high risk. We know what is high risk too in Nigeria. So at that point in time, I know that, no, this works and this doesn't work. So ability to determine our own compliance and risk appetite in a very regulated manner is the first advantage.
And that gives a lot more access to consumers.
Yeah. Then long term, it gives a lot more access, and it helps us fulfill that quest of connecting frontier markets to developed markets. Yeah, what the world I would like to see is one where from your phone you have your Canadian dollars account, US account, Nigerian naira account, which is up into there, and you can easily transact seamlessly whether you're Nigerian or not. So the second bit is long term too. The impact of it on the clients is on cost. It's cheaper. Because that way we are not going through a third party to layer, because the cost gets more because you're layering, the person might be charging you £1 for.
So fees.
Exactly, fees.
Yeah.
So that way you're able to cut fees out, you're able to offer more affordable services to your end users. So, which is part of what we're doing today. And besides that, also, there are fees that Nigerians are not used to, or that Ghanaians are not used to.
We don't like to pay generally.
Yeah, there's some fees that we're not used to. And we understand that market. We know what it means to operate in those markets. So that way, we're able to navigate the corridors. And this also applies to businesses too. Because so in the UK, if you have £10,000 cash, £10,000 is probably 20 million naira now. It's like, why? Like, what are you doing? Like, even for you to send £10,000 from maybe one of your banks to another, you need to provide explanations, I know. But with my banking app in Nigeria, I will transfer 20 million naira. Nobody's asking me any questions, right? Which also is not right. But again, understanding those nuances and being able to give Nigerians that global feeling while also understanding where they're coming from. That's really what we're doing. So those are part of the benefits to the consumers, basically.
Makes sense. Okay, so what talked about how you're building, the approach by which you're building and what it means to consumers, right?
Yeah.
And that's also how it differs from like the other fintechs that you also have.
Yeah.
But what's behind the countries that you guys are picking to expand, like India, for instance? Yeah. Most of the people that are in the remittance space at the moment, they're doing Canada, Africa, UK, Africa, and then vice versa. Europe, Africa, vice versa, and then Canada, Europe, Canada. Like, it's within a corridor.
Yep.
You're doing India. Like, what's the drive? Is there like data that you're following, or is it back to what you're doing at the motor market and seeing that there's a lot of but like
so it's trade. So remittance is one of the things that we do, right? Individual remittance. You want to send money back home, my aunt wants to send me money, blah blah and all. We do that, right? Remittance is one thing, but Leatherback has been able to also serve as that comfort zone for quite a number of businesses within and outside Africa that need to do business across both continents. And when we started out, we looked at where are those routes that we know are heavily influenced by trade. I mean, China is inevitable, right? Everybody imports from China. So we make quite a lot of payments to China today. For us, it's the UK, Nigeria. There's a lot of trade between those two countries, largely because of the human migration between both countries, right? Then you have Canada also in the mix. Then you have the US, right? US, Nigeria, also major trade routes too, right? Then you have UK, who are the largest, part of the largest migrants to the UK are Indians.
Right,
Africans and Indians. Yeah. So we looked at,
Nigerians and Indians.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, on the list of this whole migration thing, after India, it was Nigeria.
Yeah.
So looking at Nigeria, we solved the Nigerian-UK corridor, the Nigeria-Canada corridor. Then the next migration corridor, migration also influences trade in a way too. So which also moves is India, UK.
So does that mean that you are not building for Africans?
Oh no, we're not. We're building for frontier markets.
Break that down.
Okay. Africa is not the only market that is seen as high risk. The Middle East is seen as high risk. Far East Asia is seen as high risk, right? South America is seen as high risk. You get Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, and all seen as high risk too. Now, what we're building for is to solve, and so what I always say is, you have 200 million people in Nigeria and you can trade with them, but you are not giving them solutions to make payments flow easy, right? The US is trading with us, 200 million people buying from us, buying our crude oil or selling to us. China is trading from us, buying from us, selling to us. By the end of the day, which country is high risk? Nigeria. So why are you tapping into the 200 million people that are able to provide you with money to buy things from you? So for us, there's trade there, even if it's high risk. How do we solve for this problem? How do we just give that business in the US or in the UK comfort to know that if I want to do business with Africa, or if I want to do business with India or anywhere in the Middle East,
so all
there's this
markets.
compliant firm that we can go through and everything is fine and kosher.
You talk a lot about trade. That makes me feel like your focus is B2B.
We're quite heavily B2B.
Right.
But it's inevitable for us to be also individual remittance led. Again, we have a fantastic individual app that I mean, it's doing well on its own, but we do a lot more business today with businesses, and that's because we have positioned ourselves as a, so it's in 3 layers, right? We have the global banking service solution, that's Leatherback, where we offer you banking services. You can get your individual account, your GBP accounts, USD accounts, Euro accounts, Canadian dollars, Indian rupees accounts. So you can get accounts across these various currencies in your own name, right from whatever country you're in, right? So that's on one end. And we give you bespoke business services, business banking services. Now we have the infrastructure-led bit where all these accounts we've created, we're releasing it, we're making it available via APIs to everyone. And it's not just APIs to say, oh, because we offer this, you can also leverage on our APIs to offer this. No, it's that you can pick it apart. Because we built it ourselves, you can say, I want just faster payments. Or you can say, I'm Mr. A and I'm offering services to people in India. I want to collect payments only through RTGS in India. And that's the method I want you to collect it. And you can do that. You can say, I want to start collecting payments through open banking in the UK and pull payments from almost any bank accounts in the UK to pay for a service, your shoes, your bag, or whatever you want to pay for. You can do that. So it's really that infrastructure layer where businesses can also say, oh, we want to pick just this based on what we need. And of course, the other fintechs across Africa that also need those kind of solutions too. They can also come and pick on their own. And with the right kind of understanding that we know where they're coming from and they don't have to go through all the hurdles and stress that they'll typically go through.
Okay. We've talked about all the good parts. Let's talk about the hard things that's happened in this journey. What are the top 2? I mean, I know one, but I'll wait for you to say it.
So, I think the first one is what I always tell some of the people I talk to is you are high risk as a human being. When you're Nigerian, you're Muslim, and you're black. It's the worst kind of, not worst, but it's a terrible combo to have, right? Because you come to the UK, you go to the US, and you try to open an account even with a bank, and they're saying your name is Ibrahim Tayyib, and you're black, and you're from Nigeria. So starting Leatherback, it was really tough. Because, I mean, we're in a meeting one day with one of our partners, and I think it was a consultant, and the guy was very clear that, see, guys, everything you've said is sweet, you want to solve problems and all, but let's address the elephant in the room. You guys are Nigerians. And at that point, that was when we decided to start taking a different approach. So anytime we want to deal with any partner, we lead with that and let them know, see, we're Nigerians. All right.
Let's get it out of the way.
Do you have any policy internally that stops you from dealing with Nigerians? If you do, don't let us even start this conversation. Don't let's waste our time. All right. So we started leading with that. So there were lots of stumbling blocks with that, particularly because it would have been easy if we're going through a third party to say, oh, okay, yeah, they won't look at those things because they want to just make their money and all. But when you're saying, I want to be able to get a UK sort code that when you verify it, it says Leatherback Limited. That's a different thing entirely. I want to be able to get an EMI. I mean, the closest thing to a banking license in the UK is an EMI. All things being equal, Leatherback should graduate into potentially getting a banking license in the UK. So when you put yourself in that kind of position, it's tough. So that was one of the major hurdles we had to cross.
Aside telling people upfront, how did you guys approach that?
So we spent a lot on compliance. And it was a sizable portion of our budget. We've dealt with majority of the biggest compliance providers globally. And guess what? I found out later that when you start, not to compare, but when you look at the standard of what we had generally across the fintech landscape in Nigeria, in Africa, and what we had done was like an overkill for that market.
Right.
It was an overkill. But for this market, it was, you guys are just starting. You guys still need to get to that point. So transaction monitoring, KYB, KYC, the various lists, and the fact that we had to even structure okay, I'll tell you one major problem I'm facing in Nigeria now. Proof of address in Nigeria is a nightmare. It's not still explainable to anyone. We had this provider that wanted to bill us for proof of ID verification and proof of address in Nigeria. And I'm like, which proof of address are you verifying in Nigeria? There is no list, which in the UK, we know that, if you give me Peace's name or something, I can maybe check, against the credit registry to know that, this is where Peace has been using and all as an address and all. But they said, they will verify you against specific lists in Nigeria. Dude, what list? There is no list anywhere. So it's like there are so many things that the market needs that the market does not yet have. So we had to now start coming up with unique methods, right, to try to just provide justification. So if I'm telling the Bank of England, or if I'm telling any major bank globally, or my banking partners in the US that, okay, we're offering collection service to a Ghanaian business or an Ethiopian business. Okay, where is the proof of address? All right, we provide a paper that is proof of address. How is this validated? And it gets tricky. And this is also connected to how, when we started Leatherback, right, one of the major things that we had to do, COVID was gangster for us. The way we were moving around during COVID. Because we didn't want to lose time, right? And we needed to move because we wanted to make sure that once COVID is done, which we knew was going to be done, we were going to be releasing a product, right, to the market. So to just notarize your ID in some countries, because it's a Nigerian passport.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to accept it.
Have you lost any big deals because you're a black Nigerian?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Big ones.
Oh, definitely.
Is there anyone that you can share?
So we were going to get, and so this is the funny thing, yeah. Whenever you're dealing with most of these companies, so I'll mention one is a bank and one is a large organization. I'm one of the largest mobile phone manufacturers in the world, actually.
Yeah.
So most banks won't tell you why they're turning you down, right? But the truth is, you know already why they're turning you down. So we were very close. We had committed a lot of resources. And when you're applying to banks like that, a bank can tell you that, you know what, just to start the application alone, I think the fees are crazier now. They'll tell you maybe £22,000 or something just to start. And doesn't mean that they are going to...
Like in the bank or to pay the as application fee?
Yes. Just for you to apply to be able to use their solution alone, just £22,000 alone to start with and all. And that doesn't mean that they are going to approve you or not. And even when they do not approve you, it doesn't mean they are going to tell you this is why they are not approving you or not. So we had this major bank in the US that we were so close. We had done so much. In fact, we had already started preparing marketing plans and all to say, okay, we're going out, we're rolling out and all. And overnight, we just get an email from them saying, sorry, unfortunately, due to so and so reasons, we cannot provide you with so service again. And it was after we're having conversations with our touch points in the bank that was clear that, okay, you know what, there's just so much heat coming out right now. Because around that same period, there was a major fintech in Africa that already had some major hits too, right? So like, sorry, because there's so much coming out of Nigeria right now, we don't think that we can provide you with that service. And the same thing happened with a major telecom manufacturer too. It was between us and a UK firm. Why you go to a UK firm to process Naira payments when we can easily help you collect Naira and Ghanaians in these payments? It's so easy and all. But it was just clear, okay, sorry, we did not meet their risk criteria, and that's why they did not pull us through it. So it's like, you know, we've developed this thick skin. Oh yeah, we're used to it now. There's this new someone we just hired recently at Leatherback that just joined the team. Fantastic person, and so we got a rejection recently, and it was like, why? I'm like, see, don't worry. You get used to it. You get used to it, but you just don't stop.
Yeah.
All right. There's your Bible say on a convoja. You try this one. If it doesn't work, try another method again. Try another method again. We keep tinkering until we now get to that point where we are comfortable. And that's why at Leatherback today, everything we've built, we've not lost. We've not lost. We've not lost our payment providers. We've never lost any of our major banking partners, which is a major thing.
So maybe hard to get them and hard to build, but
once we do it, we don't lose it. It's clear.
Makes sense. What was the other major challenge you were in to share? EFCC, let's talk about it. It's right there.
So, it was very disappointing. And it was disappointing for me because, see, Leatherback is fantastic. We've built something amazing. Like, I can conveniently say we've built right? And my engineers are always proud of seeing what they've done. I was on a call this morning with my CTO also, where we have one of our engineers that has gone and figured out a way to automate some, because QA is one of the areas that I've always been like, this area needs to be tapped into. But this guy has gone and done some fantastic things in there, and they're proud of it. They were proud to show me because they're builders, right? And when we build in different countries, we've been to the UK. I mean, as much as I mentioned that, because you're black and Nigerian and you're Muslim and all, we got regulated here, right? We're facing the FCA. We're abiding by everything they want. We're doing what is. We're not treated as hostiles. Leatherback is regulated in the UK, Canada, Ethiopia, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal. Yeah.
Range. Is the range for me.
Nepal, and I'm sure I'm missing one more. So we're regulated across all those countries, right? And of course Nigeria. And in none of those countries have we faced what we faced in Nigeria.
What did you face in Nigeria?
So we had an incident where, we're a banking service provider, right? And what that means is that you can come to my platform. I have an online banking portal, and on my online banking portal, you log in, you have your username, you have your password, you do your KYC like your normal bank, which is what you are, which is what we really are at the end of the day. And go in there and do everything you want to do and initiate your transactions yourself, pay out yourselves. You have your own account number, your own account name and everything. Just like the only thing is short of us calling ourselves a bank, that's it. But we are regulated to provide those kind of collection and payment services, right? And so we had a particular user, and we have over 50,000 users globally. So we have a particular user that offered services, his own services, to some people that we don't know from anywhere. And while offering that service, the payment for the service was collected into his Leatherback account.
Got it.
Say, come and buy shoes, come and buy bag, come and buy this. Collected money from them, pay into this account. And he did not fulfill. Yes, he didn't fulfill what he promised to sell or buy from them, or whatever the agreement is between them. He didn't fulfill it. Now, this person took off and they couldn't allegedly find this person. All right. And so, branching off a bit from that, that's a potential fraud alert. Every bank globally faces fraud problems.
Yeah.
In the UK, on a daily basis, we get mails from Barclays, from the London Met Police, from Scotland Yard, regularly say, we got a report from so-and-so person saying one of your accounts has been beneficiaries of so-and-so. Please provide us with information and all. We have a compliance team that is structured to answer those questions. The way to do it is, if there's funds still left in the account, return the money to source. That's what happens, right? But if there's no funds left in the account, provide them with enough information so they can carry out their investigation, right? We're treated as a regulated entity because it is assumed that if you are regulated, you don't want to lose your license.
Yeah,
you must do
right.
exactly, you're going to do it right. And there's so many things you've gone through before you could even get a license from any of these regulatory bodies, right? That's in the UK. Same thing with Canada too. In fact, same thing with the US. We face these things regularly. There was one morning I woke up and I saw a mail from the US Secret Service. I'm like, I'm like, from where? Well, it was actually just based on a complaint that was raised by someone that in the US that claims, they were fraud, this and that. And okay, fine. And as a regulated entity, we responded to them, they responded to us, and we provided it. And is there some funding there? So it's cordial, right? And of course, in those countries, if we're ever found wanting, we'll definitely be held accountable, right? And the US government doesn't play. So now, for us in Nigeria, we had such a situation, and one of our users, we process over 8 to 10,000 transactions daily. One of our users who had told people to pay to his account, his Leatherback account, and he made away with their money or whatever happened between them. They couldn't find the user, and once they couldn't find the user, the people that lost money, of course, went to the police, went to the EFCC and all, and went to report the matter. And of course, when they reported the matter, the police invited us, the EFCC invited us. We went over there, and my compliance manager went there I'm pretty sure went there 22 times within 3 months. Because at the point we're counting it, because it baffled us. We're there, our lawyers were there regularly. We had a Google Drive that we had provided all the information So we're so compliant at Leatherback. I'm going to tell you some funny things now. In Nigeria, when someone sends you money, I don't think your bank will ever ask you, why is this person sending you money? Provide information as to why this person sent you money. We do that at Leatherback today.
In Nigeria?
Yes, in
Nigeria. I only see
Nigeria.
that when I'm like receiving money or sending money.
Exactly.
Like my stallion or
yeah.
something.
So we do that in Leatherback today, where if you're receiving out of an amount, a certain amount, we'll tell you, provide a document that shows why you are receiving that naira into your account. Now, we had over 5,000 pages of documents relating to this particular user, right? All bulked up in a drive. We shared it with the police, shared it with the EFCC, shared it with everyone and all. And we thought things were going well. We thought we were engaging and we're providing them with information, and we're even supporting as we should, because we don't have an option. We're regulated by the CBN. If anything happens, we have to support, because our regulators can hold us accountable if we don't support. And suddenly, from nowhere, I woke up one morning and I saw, oh, Ibrahim Ibitade declared wanted. And I'm like, yo. Like, yo, what the hell is this? What's happening? And it was, I mean, traumatic is an understatement. And for me, because we've done so much, we've built so much, and how do you do something where someone somewhere in an office decides to just do something that can potentially
ruin
everything that one has built? So it was really, and for me, the other angle I was thinking of was, we've not faced any of these things anywhere. And so every time I say this thing, and I even talk to some of the officials that are kind of the investigation, and I'm like, that are doing, I was talking to one very senior official in Nigeria recently, very top person. I was like this, and the guy was like, even you too, why will you be running this kind of business and you will not know me? And you will not be friends with me and all? Or how will you not know these people and all? And I'm like, is that what it takes for a business to be ruined in Nigeria?
But how did you manage the situation when it came out?
Well, one, I mean, kudos to my team. My team was fantastic. And guess what? In the midst of this entire thing, we didn't lose one person.
In your team?
Nobody. And we hired quite a number of people. We didn't lose one person. And that just, for me, goes to show how everyone knew what was going on. Everyone knew what was happening. It was very, very, I mean, we had issues with, so when I saw it, I mean, and I reached out to a couple of people in Nigeria when I saw it. Immediately I saw the news. The next day, I flew down to Nigeria. I mean, because for me, it was, I built so much, we've done so much. Why are you doing this? And immediately I went to the EFCC headquarters itself. The same people that declared me wanted. Okay, yeah, so I'm there. And I met with them and said, oh, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I left there the same day, went down to Lagos to met with them. So at that point, it was clear that, because for me, the justification I was looking for was why. So if the CEO of a commercial bank in Nigeria, if I use my FCMB or my Access Bank account or something to defraud someone, and that person goes to report to the police, will you go after the CEO of FCMB, or will you go after the CEO of GTB at that point in time? Why? Where is this coming from? And then they put it out to say, oh, on suspicion of money laundering. I'm like, yo, what is going on? So I went there, spoke to them, met with them, and it was very clear that, I mean, someone somewhere did not know what they were doing. And someone somewhere, because they didn't know what they were doing, took an action that could affect the lives of so many people that were trying to make an impact in the payment ecosystem globally. So, I mean, we did that, we involved our lawyers, and we petitioned the EFCC. We actually also sued to court. We're in court right now. We have like three cases. Oh no, of course, we have like 3 cases in court. And because we have, like, you need to provide an explanation, right? If you can't provide an explanation as to why this has happened, then you can't just, and also, I think for them, so we requested that they should take down the post, which they eventually did sometime early December. They took down the post across their entire platform. And I think what was also tough for them to do was because majority of the people, they get used to, it's in Nigeria, they'll be like, sorry, that's it. But they won't go back to take down the post. But for us, we knew the impact that could have on us. So
did it have any impact during that time?
During that time, there was a lot of panic. A lot of panic. But surprisingly, I mean, I was just telling someone before we started the session that the most support we got was from our clients. I mean, I had clients that I did not know even use Leatherback that were sending messages that were saying, oh, Ibrahim, I've told my lawyer in Nigeria to come to you and I've paid the lawyer. Don't worry. he will be there. He knows somebody in EFCC is going to solve the problem. I mean, and some tech CEOs, some fintech CEOs, I promise you, were really, really, really supportive. I mean, that was around the time when I reached out to GB. I mean, I'd never spoken to GB before then anyway. And from nowhere, it was like, what? Don't worry. And I promise you, I'd never spoken to him before then. So it was like, no. And he sent me his lawyer and all that. Okay, do this, do that, and all. They will help you with this. So we got a lot of support from clients. We got a lot of support from the tech ecosystem too. Yeah. And again, the staff were also very helpful. But it was more of, I saw different BCs going around then that, Leatherback accounts have been shut globally. Leatherback accounts have been frozen worldwide and all. And guess what? We did not even, I think we didn't even have any grief from our banks. Because it was more of most of our banking partners and even our regulators wanted to know what's going on here. Please provide explanations. What's happening? Have you solved it? Please keep us updated. Oh, where are you now? Have you gone there? Have you met with them? So if we're getting that much engagement from other countries,
why not yes?
I promise you. So that was really, really challenging, and I promise you that made me think about a whole lot of things. And the lesson from me there really is, unfortunately, a lot of people trying to solve payments problems and fintech problems. We entered many offices, many police stations, or many agencies, and when you get there, they'll be like, fintech. You people are fraudsters. Fintech. You people, yeah, all these things and all. Yeah, just using it it's just for fraud. It's for money. You people, yeah, money launderers. They were not here. They didn't want to hear anything at all. It's like when they hear fintech, fraud. Money laundering. That's what you people are. So if I'm a money launderer, why am I getting regulated by regulators? What are we doing? So at that, it became clear that unfortunately the structures that we have around in Africa does not, and this is not only particular in Nigeria alone, it's across Africa too. Those structures don't recognize the kind of impact that fintechs are making in the industry. I mean, I know of one or two fintechs in Nigeria now that if they turn off lights today, there will be chaos in the system. Yeah, and that just shows you how these people are solving genuine problems, and you tag them as fraudsters, and you're not providing an enabling ecosystem. So it's not about the conferences. It's not about let's go and speak here or let's go and speak there. It's about the work. There's still a lot more work that needs to be done.
If there's still a lot more work that still needs to be done, why do you want to go and retire as a farmer?
I'm one big.
Because I mean, you speak about this with like so much passion. And before we started, right, you said that this was your life's work. Like, this was something that you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you're also a farmer, and that's the end goal.
Yeah.
Explain, please.
So, first of all, I'm not going to lie to you. If I wanted to stop this thing in 5 years or 4 years, I would want to stop it in 1 or 2 years now because of what happened with this electricity in America. Like, it was really traumatizing. I mean, I know how, in fact, even up to family, right? I had to even find a way to, I have a baby sister who's very, very sweet, and she just couldn't stop crying.
Aww.
She just couldn't stop crying. And it was really traumatizing for her. So I can imagine for me where it was, and then for her too, because nobody could understand where it's coming from. So for me, it's not that process alone was really tedious and it was hard. But besides that, I think because that enabling environment is not there, I think at the point I was okay, you know what, I've done my part and I've been able to.
But you're creating the enabling environment, right? You're
yes.
trying to like build the infrastructure.
Yes, correct. So one of it, I as of today, I think this is something that I've said like twice today already, and that is the fact that fraud. Let's take fraud for example. Someone asked me a question today that why is it so hard for African fintechs to collaborate and solve fraud problems? And that's also because we're more interested in collaborating and partnering to earn money as against solving problems that will make us last. And part of it is someone can defraud, so I said someone can defraud Money Point today and come to Leatherback, defraud Leatherback, go to Fincra, defraud Fincra, and all these platforms, just by easily connecting to each other alone or just maintaining a list and knowing that this is it, they can avoid this, but they're not doing that. I mean, you see different things every day. InterSwitch came up a while ago and said, just casually, the way we do things in Nigeria, 30 billion naira chargeback fraud or something. And it just shows you how there's major disconnect in solving non-money making problems: compliance, fraud prevention, transaction monitoring, right? Better controls. It's when you do this kind of things that will give Africa and frontier markets the kind of global image that we can boldly say, do not call us high risk. We are not high risk.
Because we have all the due process.
We have all those things, but those things are not there yet. And it would be nice to see somebody that will champion that cause.
As far I know the problem, but I've chosen my struggle.
It would be nice to see someone that will champion that cause. We are doing our bit in Leatherback, honestly. I mean, for us, we work with quite a number of fintechs. We've done a lot to be able to, at least on the platform base, make sure that beyond the infrastructure is not just payments. The infrastructure is going to extend to, all right, providing you with the right KYC tools, the right transaction monitoring tools, the right KYC tools, and ensuring that you're enforced. We're trying something now where majority of the money transfer organizations we bank in the UK, we're sort of structuring them and mandating them to align and abide by specific audits and reviews and all those things will graduate into a list. So we're laying the foundation, and it will get there.
But I really want to learn about your farming. So tell me how you started.
Yeah.
How I hear you have the biggest tomato farm in Nigeria.
After Lagos Island, that one I'm very proud of.
Tell me the story. I don't think most people will hear you talk about your journey as a professional working in fintech, building Leatherback. We can talk about this for the entire day, but they won't know that side of you. So,
okay, so farming started before Leatherback. Like when there was this hiatus where I was trying to figure out what next, right, and what I wanted to do. Myself and my partner then, we started this thing where we got a couple of people and we said, you know what, guys, we want to set up a farm. This is what we need. And now we had a couple of people that invested, about 10, 12 people invested in the project and all. So at that period, I'd never farmed before, all right?
So what piqued your interest?
So we're just looking at so I'm very interested in the real sector. Right, I'm very interested. So because I believe that is really where real work is. That tomato woman that is blending tomato by the roadside, or that vulcanizer guy that is pumping tire and all. I believe that looking at those things on a broader level can lead to major methods of empowering people in the economy. So, so for me, it was okay. We looked at transportation, we looked at agriculture, and we said, you know what? These are areas that I think I want to play in. All right, let's try to get some people together, raise some funds, and try to see what's in agriculture. So we tried at transportation. It was a disaster. I mean, it's there's a reason why there's no organizer on the roads of UK. It was a disaster. I mean, and we tried, which is why I respect people that are trying to do that today in Nigeria now. And so for agriculture, we tried it, and when we tried it, I think it became an addiction after the first trial, because there is nothing more fulfilling, I promise you, than putting a speck of seed. I don't know, a seed is very tiny, and putting a speck of seed in the soil and nurturing it and seeing it grow, and taking it and selling it. See, that is the clear definition of reaping the fruits of your labor. That's what it was. So, I mean, and we tried it. We started tomatoes, and it was quite good. The experience was challenging, but we planted batul then. The fruits were so big and all, and it was just something entirely different. So when we did that, even to select tomatoes, our logic was we wanted something we can roll over quickly and that people will eat regularly. So the tomatoes take 3 months to grow. You put 1 month in nursery, then 2 months in the open field. And so when we did that, the process itself was very interesting, and it just piqued my interest at that moment, and it was lucrative.
Because you want to make money. I remember.
It was lucrative. So, and it was very lovely. So at that point in time, what we did was we just divested everybody's investments, and we saw that it wasn't worth it. The work that we needed to do was a lot. So we liquidated everyone's investments, and I started focusing on, okay, how do we scale this? So we have like massive land in my village, family land. Started with that and started 1 round, 2 rounds, and before you knew it, at the end of a year, it was pretty good.
How long has it been now?
5, 6 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Oh yeah, 5, 6 years.
Time.
I've been at it for a while now. So we started from 25 hectares, of land. That's we're in Kwara State. Then from there, moved to Ajashe. In Ajashe, we have 320 hectares of land, totally.
Feels like almost a whole like.
Yeah, I can say like it's a city. So now in Ajashe, we're planting on that kind of large scale. And now beyond tomatoes, we're now doing. So the plan at some point was to also go into processing, because anytime people say, oh, why not process? But the truth is, see, you will make a lot more money from that woman that is bringing cash and selling in the market to you than you will make from processing. That's
really?
One. Yeah, plus you, and also people say, why not sell to ShopRite? Why not sell to this? See, those people, you want to sell to them and they'll tell you, no, we won't pay you until after 1 month. Nah, man.
Yeah, so you farm and then you sell directly to like
immediately, and we sell at market price because our products are so good. I mean, our average tomato shelf life is like 2 weeks. So it's really, really like it's, and farming comes with its own challenges too. So most of those women just come with their massive baskets, and we also go to Mile 12 market ourselves too. And
so you take it all the way from Kwara?
Oh yes, Kwara to Mile 12. We sell sometimes in the north because there are some few processing plants in the north that also need to, when the north is off season.
How do you balance agriculture and fintech?
So I spend most of my time in Ilorin and London and Nigeria and all.
So not Lagos, Ilorin and London.
Yeah, Lagos is cool, but not Lagos. Not Lagos.
So when you're not here, you're farming?
Oh yeah, when I'm not here, I'm farming. We are under that illusion that we can feed ourselves as a country. There's no food basket, anything in that Nigeria. We're still scratching the surface. So there's a lot more that needs to be done. And unfortunately, many people don't know this, and they can't solve those problems. And I think farmers are a niche set of people that need genuine solutions. So one thing that myself and my people face is, on our farm today, we use over 25 combination of fertilizers because plants are like human beings. You feed them potassium nitrate, calcium nitrate, potassium sulfate, monopotassium sulfate, all those things. You give them, right? And you give them this one, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, up to when they're 2 months. Fertilizers are banned in Nigeria. Why? The country says, oh, it's because fertilizers are high risk materials, and also how are you supposed to feed
if you don't have them?
If you don't have them. And the only person that's supposed to provide fertilizers in Nigeria that produces, that's Dangote fertilizer. They only produce urea. Nobody wants to plant anything with urea. If you're planting maybe rice, you can use urea, but nobody wants to do anything with urea. So that's just an example of one major problem that the food sector is facing, and nobody's solving.
So for you, it's not just I want to keep farming, it's I want to go solve problems in the food sector.
Oh yes. There's issues there that needs to be solved, and there are more. It's also infrastructural too, basically things like that needs to come from the right kind of legislation, right kind of propositions and all those kind of things. So once we're done with this,
that's the next level. What would you say are your 2 biggest lessons that you've learned in your entire career journey so far?
Hi.
It's a lot because like we're talking 2 different industries and I get it, but just not necessarily in terms of like the building of the fintech or like the farming itself, just as a professional, as an entrepreneur, going through all of these experiences. What are the 2 things that have really stood out for you?
It's very funny. All right, so I'll say always work with your strength. I think that was one of the things that helped me with this EFCC thing, because when everything happened, there was a day I received a call from, one of my lawyer was on a call with someone from nowhere that I did not know. They said he's the Emir of Jigawa or something. And that, he's the one that told police to come and do this and that and whatever. And I'm like, I don't even know anybody from Jigawa. Like, I don't know any. So my lawyer was on the phone with the man, and at that point, the man was like, on speaker, I was like, I will do this to you, I will do that, I will do this. At that point, something became clear to me. I'm not influential. What I have, which is my strength, is I can reach out to people in the fintech community or in the tech community in Nigeria, and they will provide me support, right? And we can look at what we have. We have facts and data. Okay, no problem. We'll put it out there, which is why one of the things we did when the whole thing happened, first, a lot of people came to us and said, you should not have put so much information. No, Because at the end of the day, a lot of people are whispering in corners and assuming things. Let's put everything out there so the info, so it's plain and open. We have nothing to hide, right? So we looked at what our strengths were. We're compliant, we're regulated, we have the right information, and we have the right people that can help us tell our story and put our story out there. And that was what we did, and that was what laid the foundation. I mean, that night when this whole thing happened, and when I was declared wanted and all, I think it was Debola Williams, a couple of people just got on a WhatsApp call and were like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Pull this team together. Okay, this is the best thing. Let's do this. Let's do that.
I mean, so influencer is kind of relative. If you think about it, you might not know the government people.
That's his influence.
Emirs, but
that's his influence.
But there are people like Debola Williams is influential. So you know people that can get into those doors.
See, but the thing is, it's different for you to pick up your phone. And also, there was a danger we're about to suffer then too. We knew that even if we got someone to pick up the phone to say, leave them alone or something, it was going to be tricky. Because at that point, people could start saying, oh, they're trying to cover something or they're trying to hide something. So we did not even go towards that angle of, oh, let's even try to look for somebody that can coil everything up. It was more of, how can we tell this story right and let everyone see what is right? True. And that was what helped us navigate this whole situation to get to the point where we are now, to say, okay, we've pulled through this, we've been able to survive, we looked at our strength. Always play to your strength. If you play to your strength, you're right. Don't try to fight people. Like you can.
It's almost like the truth to set you free.
Yes, you can't fight the battle of, if someone is calling this, who do you want to call up to? When you people call the president, then what now happens and all. So just play to your strength, and the truth will set you free. That's one thing. And the second thing is always build.
Hi, lovely to see my face again in it. I hope you had a very awesome time listening to Ibrahim's story, how passionate he is about building Leatherback and how passionate he is about tomatoes. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was a masterclass in a bit of fintech and a bit of agriculture. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video till the end. You are a rock star. Yes, in my world, you are a rock star. Thank you so much. Make sure that you don't leave this channel without subscribing. Subscribe, turn on push notification, because more videos are definitely coming your way. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.